Hi, I'm Ricky, and this is my husband's best friend, Mike.
Hi.
Today, we're going to tell you about his life as a stepdad. Hashtag stepdad without children. Hi,
Ooh.
Mike. We
Hi.
did it.
We did.
A long time coming, this episode.
Yeah. Because I when I listened to you guys, your inaugural run, your first
Uh huh.
episode,
Uh huh.
it hit me. Like I felt it. And
You're
like,
like, hold on, this is my life, actually.
well, yeah, I mean, even when Matt was telling me about the idea that you had that you were gonna, I said, yeah, I get that. I get that because I'm a stepdad and I still don't have any
Yeah.
biologicals that I'm aware of. I'm absolutely positive there are none.
Oh, that's wonderful.
The
Gl-
list is short.
Glad to hear it. That's going to be one of my questions coming up. But just to introduce this to the listener, so Mike is joining me. He's a stepdad without children, and so the comparison that my husband and Becky have made between us, and I think that we've like very briefly talked about it when we first met.
Mm.
So I obviously, listener, I'm 12 years younger than my husband, but for the most part, it doesn't like there's nothing weird about it, or maybe it's just me because I'm so accepting, I'm so open. But also, the only weird part is his son Matt Jr. is 7 years younger than me, and so that's crazy. So that's where for me it gets into like the weird thing of like saying I have kids or not saying I have kids because my kids are in their 20s if I do have kids.
Yeah,
Um, but so Mike is 20 years younger than his beautiful bride,
I am.
and so I imagine that you get questions. I
Oh,
imagine that it's weird.
it can be. The other crazy part is
Mhm.
this year we will have been together for 20 no, this year we'll have been together for 30 years.
What?
In October, we'll have been together for 30 years.
30 years. I was 5 years old when you guys got together.
I was 18.
So 18, and you guys are 20 years apart, so she was 38 years
38.
old.
Uh-huh.
I know that she has kids, so I imagine that her kids were older. I mean, the relation I have with it is my parents when they were 38, I was like in high school.
Tina had kids a little bit later on.
Okay,
Uh,
cool. We love
so
that.
so the kids are, I say kids, and my s my stepdaughter is in June, she will be 40,
Okay.
and Brian, I believe, just turned 38.
Okay, so we're in the same boat, 7 years
Yeah,
away from the
7 to
oldest.
7 to 10 years is the range, yeah.
It's like for me, I'm like, it's just silly. And for somebody else who's like a guy, I'm like, that's crazy. But that's so unfair.
I came around when they were younger because, I've been here for so long.
Right.
They were like 7 and 10, 8 and 10-ish.
Hmm. So you're still like a grown up. Like when
Right,
they're 10 years old, you're still a grown up.
I was still the adult an adult. I was
Okay.
still grown, but I found myself as we all got closer and time wore on, I found myself uniquely positioned
Hmm.
because I could look at my wife and say, "Hey, wait a minute, back off a little bit. Remember when you were whatever age, 14?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I was closer to it,
Hmm.
but had lived it and had and can understand
Hmm.
both sides of it. I
Yes.
hadn't lost that common understanding of, well, you know what?
I love that I don't have to experience because Matt is not the disciplinarian in his family. So I don't have to experience literally any of that. And then also the kids were just bigger and Ryan is like a whole different like situation. So like
Yeah.
there is not really disciplining him aside from like stop touching your dick and like just regular things to deal with like that.
There's literally TikToks and videos all over the internet of women saying what it's like to be a boy mom, and they'll say 50
Oh.
different things, and in between everything is just stop touching your penis.
Oh.
Let go of your
Well,
penis.
well,
Stop
that
touching your
makes me
penis.
feel so much better. So, one of my questions was, and you like touched on it a little bit, like, were you the like, I don't want to say disciplinarian because I'm sure it was Tina, but like, did you have to support her in disciplining the kids?
I would if somebody was grounded, I wasn't letting them go outside just because,
Right.
I would support all that, but, you know, conversely, being an adult in the situation, and eventually it was my house too.
Mhm.
So there were there were times when, I'd put my foot down. Like, one of
Right.
my big things, and this isn't really even disciplined, but
Mhm.
if I cook dinner and have you for dinner, you're gonna sit down and eat with me.
Mhm.
So that was something that I really leaned on really hard
Yeah, that
when
was
we
your
were
house
kids,
rule.
because I mean, that's what I grew up doing.
Of course.
We're gonna have
Same.
dinner. Come sit your ass at the table, and we're gonna have
Yeah,
dinner. Or, I mean, even if it
like
wasn't
in
the
front of the
table,
TV.
dinner was still together,
Mhm. Yeah.
"Thanks a lot for cooking, have a nice day." Because for a couple of years, they were on their own with Tina being a single mom,
Mhm.
it kinda got lax,
Mhm.
we'll eat,
Yeah,
and
as long as they're eating.
yeah, and
Right.
I get it, it's rough,
Yeah.
everybody's got a bad time, but, I was able to do a lot of the cooking, so,
Mhm.
I would cook, and we'd sit, and we'd eat, and
Yeah, if you wanna eat my food, you're gonna eat it with me at the table.
I felt like it was resented a lot of the time.
That's so weird.
It
I mean,
like
like, no
I mean,
shade, but that's so weird.
like, there were times when they didn't, "Well, we don't wanna come in and hang out with you. We wanna eat quick and run and go be with our friends." Well, that's great. All of those things
Mhm.
were kinda the way that I felt about things.
Yeah.
Tina did the curfew thing. They always had a curfew. They always had to be back
Mhm.
here at a certain time,
Mhm.
and, you didn't run the streets all night without a place to be.
Mhm.
Flash forward to when Megan got married,
Mhm. The
one of the girl
oldest?
yeah,
Okay.
her, her good friend from the neighborhood growing up was her maid of honor, and she got up to make a speech, and one of the first things she said was, "I have to say, thinking back, all of the good times we had as kids,"
Mhm.
came out, she says, "as infrequently as we did it, because we would always go to somebody else's house first if we knew we could get away with something."
Oh. Oh, your house was the no trouble house.
But it was also the house where everybody ended up because there was no
Comfort
judgment here
vibes.
either.
Yeah.
So, like, that was
That's like being identified and taking that like nugget and you're like, "Hold on, I'm not an invisible person and people cared about growing up in my house."
yeah. So,
Oh
she
god, the
goes on about,
validation.
"We always knew we were gonna have to be in at Megan's curfew."
Oh my
She said, "But
god.
looking back, those are the things I'm thankful for." She said, "It was the times that we stayed there and something happened to somebody else that we realized
Mhm.
why it wasn't that bad to have to be somewhere at a certain time." And
Okay, Mike and Tina, parenting duo of the
yeah, I mean, it's
century.
like so, like, those things, it was good to hear. Yeah, and, that she always said the other thing she said was, they always knew that there wasn't a whole lot of judgment, and
Mhm.
when you walked into my house, somebody saw you.
Mhm. Oh, right. You weren't like sneaking in and just like in the
Yeah,
basement and no one knows you're there.
but we also didn't come off as Mr. and
Mm.
Mrs. Pico, and we're going to it wasn't like,
Yeah, I'm
it
calling your mother.
was, "Hey, how you doing? How you been? What's going on?" Now, our son had a friend that would come
Uh-huh.
over,
Mhm.
and he was real quiet. I
Mhm.
had spoken, and I didn't feel like I was adequately acknowledged. And it happened once, my wife was right there, and he continued on to whatever they were doing. I turned to my wife, I said, "That kid comes into this house one more time,
Mhm.
and he doesn't acknowledge me,
Mhm.
I am gonna lose my shit."
Was it something that he was acknowledging Tina and not acknowledging you?
No, I just didn't feel like he was acknowledging enough at all.
Okay, okay, okay.
He said, "Well, yeah, we had him for dinner, and, we all
All
had
of a
dinner."
sudden.
I said, "Oh, really?" She said, "Yeah, and, the reason he doesn't acknowledge you is he's nervous and he's a stutterer."
Aw. He didn't wanna mess up saying hi to you?
Well, just in general,
Yeah.
because when Tina said something about him staying for dinner, our son said, "Well, come here, mom, I need to tell you something." Went right to his friend and said, "Hey, look, my mom's cool. She knows what's up. Let's go
Mhm.
eat. This kid's a
You need to.
stutterer. He's not talking to you because he's intimidated and he knows that's gonna make him stutter."
Aw. I worked with a stutterer, so I'm like, "Oh, no, I totally get it."
So, eventually it got to the point where I said something to him that he really it struck him, and he turned around, he started talking. you couldn't shut him up after that, and he'd get stuck in him,
And
he'd
you're
get
like,
stuck in a loop
I'll
sometimes,
wait.
like,
I'll have
"No, this
patience.
is awesome." The fact that he felt comfortable enough to come in here and just be himself
Yeah.
was good with me. I totally dug that.
Yeah, that's so much validation. I'm like a validation junkie. I was talking with another guest yesterday and I was like, tell me everything, everyone at all times. I want to know. Keep no secrets. Tell me what you're thinking all the time.
Yeah.
So I noticed you said um our son. And so is that like how just because I'm just trying to compare it to my situation, because obviously like my kids were much older. And so
It's
it's just different. But so like is that a common thing that you say our son?
it is now.
Okay.
I had to
It's been 30 years. Hello.
Yeah, like, I had to get permission along the way.
From yourself or from Tina or from the boy or from society?
Yes. And
All of it.
what really started to make me consider the fact that, yeah, this is a thing I can say was,
Hmm.
um, when our daughter got married.
Uh-huh.
Again, somebody got up for a toast, it was her father. I've got no we don't have a problem with each other, we're friendly. In fact, when Megan and Kev bought their first house,
Hmm.
he was there helping run some electric, and I happened to stop by at the same time,
Hmm.
and
Two
it was
dads just being dads.
so I walked in, and Ralph was there and talked for a minute. They said what they were doing, and then the 3 of us did the
Mhm.
work and drank the beer.
Crazy.
And the next morning, my wife calls me, and she said, "What the hell? I was just on the phone for 25 minutes with my ex,
Mhm.
hearing about what a great guy you are and how in a different life you probably would have been good friends by now."
Oh my gosh.
She
That's so
he
funny.
he called her to tell her how much he enjoyed hanging out with me.
Oh, look at you, one
And
of the
not
bros.
honestly, I enjoy him as well. He's fun to talk to.
Uh-huh.
He's just a good guy. He got
And
up.
so, have you guys maintained that relationship since that day or no?
I mean, I don't call him up to go do things, but,
Right.
we interact on Facebook and, but
Okay.
when we're in the same space, we ultimately have a conversation about
Uh-huh.
something. So,
That is so crazy. I
uh,
mean, it's wonderful. It's very new normal. It's
but it's because we've never had anything to be upset about,
right.
you know?
I mean, girls are different because she invents
She
things to be upset about.
she was divorced and had moved on,
Uh-huh.
and then he got married. I mean, there's there's been times
Yeah,
it
it's
wasn't
very settled.
spectacular. When we got to the point that, we hung out and drank beer, it was cool,
Mhm.
and,
Yeah.
it's good to have that. One of the things that gave me permission was when he got up at Megan's wedding to
Uh-huh.
he wanted to give a toast,
Yeah.
and he talked about how lucky he was as a father to have children so lucky
Mhm.
to have 4 great parents in their corner all the time.
Stop, I'll cry right now. That's so nice.
He acknowledged me and, his current
Right.
wife, and just the fact that,
Mhm.
that he feels that his kids were so fortunate to have
Uh-huh.
an extra pair of people looking out for them,
Yeah.
and, that's when I felt like I could start, "Okay, yeah, these are my kids too."
And when was that? How long ago was that?
It's been over 10 years, I forget the exact date,
That's so nice.
but, yeah, it's been more than
So after 20 years, so I have like 11 years to go until I'm allowed. When my granddaughter, when Matt's grand oh, I can even when I say my granddaughter, it doesn't even feel right. When Alicia's babies are like 10, maybe I'll feel it. Or maybe when they start talking more, I'll feel it.
Yeah, that's
Because it's like
with the
I
little
have
ones,
a
that's big.
relationship.
With
Yeah,
the
I'll
little
have a
ones, that's a big deal.
relationship.
Yes.
The stress. Now that we see that you have a friggin' picturesque relationship with your stepkids when they were little, or maybe now, I don't even know. But so or actually what is it like now? Like so I know the relationship with the ex-husband is wonderful, but with the kids, like you guys are chill?
Yeah, they come and go, and,
Yeah.
we go and do things, and
And the
yeah.
grandson, I know there's a grandson
Yeah,
involved.
yeah,
How
he's
old is
awesome.
he?
He is 4.
Oh, I love 4. I have a
Yeah,
4-year-old niece and she's literally the best thing.
yeah, I think they're similar in age because you it was right
Yeah.
about I remember the back and forth right about the same time. I was
Okay.
You were getting a niece, I was
A
getting a
grandson.
grandson, and
Oh, that's
I have a great nephew now.
oh my god. A
Right?
great nephew.
Yeah,
I
my niece went and had a baby.
oh, your niece, the one I met at the
Yes,
hip the thing?
yes.
OMG, congratulations, niece.
He's 2 now.
Oh my gosh. That's fantastic. I love that. I love babies. I'm in, like, baby freaking mood lately.
I've
Um,
noticed that. I've heard more baby talk coming out of you.
I just we're just trying to have this baby. I did blood work today to
Yeah?
see if I'm pregnant. I'm pretty sure I'm not, but it's to see if I'm pregnant so I can go on a medication to help me get pregnant.
Right.
Um, but she really beat the shit out of my arm, this girl. And the
Most of them
most
do.
negative customer service. She didn't say anything when she finished. She just put all the stickers on the tube and literally walked away.
Wow.
I was like, "Am I allowed to leave?" And then I just left. I don't know. And she didn't do a good job putting a Band-Aid on either. Um, but so, now that we have, like, the stepdad stuff out of the way, which seems like you're having a good time. You had a
Yeah,
good time this whole
yeah.
time. It's been
I
30
mean,
years, and so it's
there's been challenges along the way, but everybody's got a family, right?
yeah, and
Yeah.
all parents in general, like, there's friggin' bumps along the way, and so
Yep.
it couldn't be any different for a step parent. I don't know, maybe I just love the drama over here in my situation. But so tell me about, being with someone who's older. You're 18 years old,
Uh-huh.
you meet this lady who's 38, she's a smoke show, she has 2 kids, and you're like, "What's up, girl?"
Uh-huh.
Like,
Well
where did you guys
well,
meet?
her parents
Uh-huh.
owned the neighborhood store for a while,
Oh, okay.
which it had always been here, and then when the original family that owned it, when they sold it, it went to another family that just kinda beat it up, and then my father-in-law bought it.
Mhm.
I worked for all of those families in that store at some point,
Oh, wow.
whether it was stocking shelves or
Mhm.
later on, like with my father-in-law, I was on the registers whatever he needed done, I would go and do.
Mhm.
Um, so while working there, Tina would close the store at night. I would open
Oh, okay.
I would open with her dad in the morning and then go to class all day, go to my go to a late start job because I
Mhm.
scheduled it around my classes.
Mhm.
So, I would swing in and be there for the last hour or a half hour at the store just because I
Uh-huh.
didn't like that she was sitting there by herself.
Oh my god, what a gentleman.
When her sister was still there, I would sit and bullshit with the both of them. But
Right.
then once her sister picked up and went to Louisiana, she was closing the store at night and living above it. So, I would go and I'd continue to go and sit and hang out while she got ready to close, and then we'd usually lock the store, and I'd walk out through the door in the house and leave. One night,
Oh my god, I'm,
I
like,
mean,
nervous.
there was a lot of slap and tickle that went on through the couple of months that we
Oh
were,
my.
and then
And
one night,
she obviously she's divorced for 2 years, and so she's just like,
yeah.
"There's this cutie little patootie at the store."
Yeah, that's kinda the way it went, and I was leaving one night, and
Uh-huh.
I had a glorious mullet
Of course you did. I
that I would
believe that's
that I would
more than anything you've ever said.
that I would tie back in a ponytail
Oh, barf.
down low, and it hung to about the middle of my back.
This is the worst story I've ever heard.
You have to realize my mom was a hairdresser, so it was cared for. It wasn't like Joe Dirt.
Ay, 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 ay.
The whole back of my head was grown down into it, like, that's when I started in traffic control about that time.
Uh-huh. They
The
thought you was a
truckers
lesbian.
would blow the horns at me from behind, and when I'd turn around with a beard, they'd all get mad.
OMG. 30 years ago was a weird time, and of course, when I say 30 years ago, in my head, I'm thinking it's the '70s, but I know
Right.
that it was not the
No, it was
'70s, it was the '90s.
1994.
OMG.
So, she grabs me by my ponytail and pulls me back inside,
Cheeky.
and that's what kinda started everything.
So she came after you, little
Yeah.
cutie patootie with a friggin' ponytail. I
Ye
love that, that's so cute. So, I imagine that it was a physical relationship for a while, and
Uh-huh.
then you guys started going on dates.
Yeah. I mean, right off, we went to a wedding. We've known each other for a while at this.
Right. Yeah. You guys aren't strangers.
Right, we're not strangers,
Mhm.
her parents had owned the store for a few years at that point, so I literally met her the day her parents took possession of the store,
Mhm.
walking in buying cigarettes underage.
And then so when you start dating, are her parents like, "Tina girl, what are you doing?"
Okay, so we both realized that this was something we probably shouldn't talk about.
A secret little situationship.
Yes. So we did that for a while.
Hold on, pause. Listener, I just need you to know that this is so cute because Mike has not stopped smiling since he started telling this story, and he loves his wife so much, and it's so cute. But go. So it had to be a secret situationship.
It was, and like I said, I opened the store in the morning with her dad.
Mhm. Oh, hey, father-in-law.
One of us would get there first, and we both lived around the corner from the store in opposite
Mhm,
directions.
mhm,
So there were some mornings when I could slide in,
mhm,
park my truck at the one end of the building,
mhm,
go open the door in the middle, take the papers in, and get started if Pop wasn't there. Or, some mornings I'd see him come around first. I usually had it done. And when we got to the point where we were trying to hide something,
mhm,
I would actually get up and go home for a while and come back and open the store.
and pretend like you weren't just there all night long.
Right. So in the last few times that that happened,
Uh-huh.
we got caught twice.
Oh my god. Caught
The
by the
fir
dad?
Oh, well, the first time I went
Mhm,
home
mhm,
to mom's house, and I'm being real quiet. It's old house. I knew every step I could step on. I knew how to turn
mhm.
the key not to make noise. Right.
R
So I figured, okay, I'm just gonna crash in the recliner because I only have 45 minutes before I have to be there and open the store.
right.
So I didn't turn any lights on. It's pitch dark in the house.
Mhm.
Go across the room, get to the recliner, go to sit down. My mom was sitting in it. She smacked me in the back of the head so fucking hard.
Oh
Whap!
my
You're not
god.
gonna come and go from my house anytime you please.
Oh my god.
You
And
know,
so you had to tell her like, "Oh, I was with Tina."
I didn't even go that far. I was like, "Yeah, okay." And she's
Sorry
like,
about that.
I think by that time I don't know if she figured it out. I think she figured it out at that point.
Mhm,
Within a few days, I overslept
mhm. At Tina's.
at Tina's.
Oh.
Tina overslept at Tina's,
Oh my god.
and the
I'm so
phone
nervous.
and the phone next to the bed started to ring. She picked it up, and her dad just said, "Hey, you can tell him he doesn't have to go outside and come back in through the store door. He can come right through the house." And he hung up the phone, and that's all that was ever said.
Oh my god, can we interview him next? Is he still alive?
No, we lost a little over 20 years ago.
Oh, I'm late. Sorry. RIP. Oh, I'd love to pick his brain about that very phone call
Yeah,
and
he
the events leading up to that phone call.
so I don't know exactly how long he knew before,
Right.
but
Do you think that your mom was talking to him?
no.
Oh, it was just his own
Yeah.
calculations.
Uh-huh.
That's so cute.
Yeah,
And so how was your relationship with her parents?
fantastic. I miss my father-in-law dearly.
I
Uh,
love that. And how is Tina's or was Tina's relationship with your mom? Like, what was that like?
at first, it was bad. Like
Are they close in age?
what yes. Only
Your
a
mom
few
was like,
years, like 4 or 5 years 4 years maybe.
oh, I mean, hold on. What are my parents? 56 and oh yeah, so they're 10 years. Well,
So,
that doesn't feel
like,
quite as
my mom was completely and totally out of her mind.
OMG.
Um, and it was not pretty at first,
Were
and
your parents married? Like,
no,
were they like traditional?
not at the time,
So your mom was
and
like a
they were
single
already
mom?
divorced, yeah.
Oh, so she was
Oh,
like,
my
not another
but
single mom getting with
but
my kid.
but we had a stepfather,
Uh-huh.
um, but, like, she was not pleased. I got the whole speech, I got the ultimatum, "You're not gonna date that woman and live in my house."
All right, well, bye.
And that's what happened. And that's what she hadn't counted on. Like,
Yeah.
I walked up the steps, I put some belongings into a milk crate, I slung it over my shoulder with one hand, and I went back down the steps to the front door.
Oh, it's
She
so
says
punk rock.
she says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Leaving. You said I can't stay."
Oh my god. Over here in love with Tina. Mom, you can't stop this.
So
That's so funny.
in the next ensuing period when everybody
Mhm.
was losing their mind, I had occasion to talk to my maternal grandmother.
Uh-huh.
My grandfather, her husband, passed
Mhm.
away in 1961. She never dated, she never remarried.
Mm.
Terry was the love of her life,
Mhm.
and I had heard that my whole life. I had heard all the great memories of him, so I was talking to her, and she said, "You know, I've your grandfather was the love of my life, and
Mhm.
all I can all I can tell you is if you think you may be in love and
Mhm.
could be something real, you need to go figure out if it's the love of your life because you don't know
Yeah.
how often or if it'll
Mm.
ever come along again. Go."
Mhm. Yeah,
And
that's
I'm so glad I
wonderful.
did.
Yeah, we love a blessing. Thanks, Grandma. That's the best. Oh, validation. There it is again. Little
And,
signs.
for a few years, it was awkward. My dad was completely the other end of the spectrum. Yeah, whatever. In
I
fact,
mean, that's
our first
traditional
conver
dad.
our first conversation about it was, "I don't care who you wanna fuck. You're gonna go out. You're gonna find yourself a little girl about your age,
Mhm.
pretty thing. You're gonna take her past your mom's once in a while. You're gonna kiss on her a little bit, keep your arm around her. Because if that woman calls me one more fucking time, tell me about who you are with, I'm gonna lose my shit."
Oh my god, I was he joking? I hope he was joking, 'cause bye.
I don't know.
But
I'm
we
joking.
didn't do that. We
No,
didn't we
no,
didn't have a what is it called? A beard?
yeah, yeah, that I didn't do that. Although, I was often accused of having her as my beard.
Rude?
I often people thought that I was gay and married to Tina because was
Worked out.
it looked conventional.
People are really so nosy. I mean, I'm people.
Like,
But ew! Like, they
I'm
needed their own reason, so they literally made one up?
and I kinda think my dad was one of those people for a long time.
Is he still here too?
Yeah, yeah, we've got that.
Oh, I'll ask him so fast. Have a
He'll
party
de
so I can meet him.
he'll deny it. He will absolutely deny it.
Listen, it's 2024. Tell me the truth. Real quick, so did you have the option or did you guys talk about the option of having your own kids? Like you and Tina together?
We talked about it.
Uh-huh.
She's had a tubal ever since we were together.
Mm. Oh,
W
okay.
we did have conversations with a family physician about changing that,
Mhm.
and ultimately, we decided that we didn't really n
Mhm.
it wasn't something that we needed to do.
Okay.
It wouldn't have been unwelcome, but it wasn't something we had to pursue.
Okay. And
Um,
like you're still all these years later, you're still okay with that?
yeah, absolutely,
Okay, good.
absolutely. Um,
No regrets.
no, no.
You and Tina. Find in
Yeah,
love.
yeah, I mean, it's like
All those judgy wudgies can suck it.
yeah, the funny thing is everybody who bet against us has been divorced or had some
Mhm.
major scandal in their life.
Like, people are so judgmental and they assume things about people and they assume things about relationships and people have their own like this is what a relationship is supposed to look like and
Mhm.
these are the gender roles that people are supposed to have and they have like this whole thing and it's like said who
Yeah,
can we just do it how we want to do it, you know what I
absolutely.
mean? Oh god, it's 2024.
I'm ordained through one of those internet churches because
Same.
I will officiate weddings, and I
Yeah.
don't care who you wanna marry as long as it's legal in the jurisdiction where we are, boys, girls and
Yeah.
boys, I don't care.
Anybody,
It's
as
not
long
a
as it's
deal.
not for,
As
like
long
a
as you're not
green
hurting
card.
anybody else.
Yes, not breaking any logs or hurting anybody else. I love that. I also want to officiate weddings. I feel like that would be a good side gig for me. I'm not trying to take your clientele.
No, 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 I encourage it. It's
Yeah.
really it's
Back
awesome.
home, I remember there was so my aunt was gonna get married, and I remember she wanted me to do it, but this was like when I lived back home and it was like convenient. And then there was a thing to become a justice of the peace, and I was like, should I be in justice of the peace? And I think about it all the fucking time. But
Well,
like back home you needed like somebody to like write a letter of recommendation, and I'm like, who the fuck do I know that's important enough?
There's churches on the internet that you can go, and Delaware is a state that accepts that some
Hmm.
states make you jump through hoops to use an internet ordination
Uh-huh.
to officiate. Delaware's not one of those states.
Yeah.
I
I've done that. I
I
did
know
it. It was like
Maryland's not.
Universal Life Church, I
Yep.
think it was.
Uh-huh.
I still have the paper. I like keep it like with like my tax documents.
Well, yeah, you gotta keep it safe. It's real.
Yeah.
And
Oh my god. I'm
I
about to
I
start
married
an Instagram for my thing.
I've married a number of couples, that
Including Marshall.
yes, I did.
Marshall and Dawn.
I've done my sister's wedding I did, and, handfuls of people that everybody's wedding that I've done is somebody that I've had a connection to through somebody else somewhere along the line,
Right.
and
Well, I think I just decided that I always leave a poll on the Spotify for this podcast for each episode.
uh-huh.
And the question is usually like a generic one, whatever they think of, or sometimes I do a fun poll. I think I'm going to do a poll for this episode, and it doesn't have a lot to do with you. And I'm sorry for that guest,
That's
but it's
okay.
going to be, should I officiate weddings? So we're going to let the kids guess.
Yeah. We'll talk when you turn the recording off.
Oh. So, guys, that's all from us. Mike, do you have anything to say to the people?
I really don't, other than, when I'm not here,
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Rock Def,
Mm-hmm.
I work on the Media Virus podcast,
Mm-hmm.
that I that Matt and I do,
Mm-hmm.
and, we'd love to have you stop by and check us out, themediavirus.com. You can also check us out at 646-FIRE-01. That's our telephone number. Leave us a little message, or if you call while we're taping, we'll put you on. And
Yeah, guys, that's literally the funnest thing to derail the whole show and just
oh yeah, because we're so excited to get a call, we just throw the brakes on and put the call on.
literally, it's so fun. So, you guys, if you're looking for a radio station to call, it's basically the same thing.
Sorta, yeah. Hey, and the other thing is you can dial 302-46 voice and
Uh-huh.
get these dulcet tones on your project.
Yes, do that. Guys, obviously you hear that Mike has like the bombest voice. And so obviously he does voice work. And so I don't know if you need like a little voicemail for
Yeah,
this guy, press 2. Like if you want Mike to say
I
that.
can do phone system stuff. I can do Hey, I'll read an audiobook for you if you like.
Oh my god, what a fantastic idea. Audiobooks are like the friggin' like new black right now.
Mhm.
You guys, thank you for listening. Always share our podcast. If you like this, then your friends will probably like it too. We want you to follow the Media Virus. We want you to follow us, of course, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. If you're looking to follow our friend Mike on Instagram, he's Prof Mike Latoris. It's so complicated to spell, so just find him on my page. If you're looking to follow me on Instagram, I'm at Cold Heart Covered in Gold. And please follow Mike's podcast, the Media Virus Podcast. There's underscores underneath each word. Again, just go to my page and find it in my follows. Thanks, guys. We did it.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.